Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, welcome to another day working on our 24 valve Cummins build. So last time we kind of started getting this thing all apart, getting kind of down to where we need to be. We are down to basically just a couple more things to remove. We want to pull this front timing cover so we can see about whether we need a wear sleeve for the front main seal, because I believe that's where a lot of the grime and gook and all was coming from. Also, we need to pull our CCV, our crankcase vent, figure out exactly what we're going to do with that. I know a lot of you guys have commented that guys will route it so it goes further back, kind of comes off the frame rail. I really wish there was a good way to just have this thing kind of route, into a catch can and then back into the oil pan itself, just so you're not having all that kind of like blow by anywhere underneath the truck. But we have time to sort that all out. So we're gonna get that cover off, check that stuff out. That way we can get the parts ordered for that. We do have some of our other parts that need replaced on order, so they should be here whenever. I just got them ordered today. So then we're actually going to be getting into the top of the engine here. So what we're going to do is pull the valve cover and kind of dive into that whole thing. So what we're going to be doing is actually doing head studs. So these are the ARP 625 head studs from that engine, from that truck. So these are the original 625 head studs that we had in the race truck. When we pulled the engine out, I pulled the studs. And my plan was originally just kind of like, we'll sell them, or we'll, next project. Well, the next project is here. So that's what the great thing is about these trucks. So if you look at the part number for the 625 head studs, it is from 98.5 to, 2018, but I'm sure it goes up to 2020 now. Anyhow, so the same studs can be used from our common rail engine to our VP engine. One thing about the head studs, I like the 625s. I know there's some other manufacturers out there now. I've never ran anything other than ARP, but I like the 625s for the simple fact, yes, you pay a little more money up front, but then later on you're not saying, well, should I have gone to the 425s? I'm going to go to another power level. You don't have to second guess yourself on that. You're already there. You already have the beefy studs, unless you upgrade to like a bigger diameter stud, which I guess these are 12 mil, and then you go to a 14. I can't remember exactly, but unless you're going to something bigger where, the block has to be machined or whatever, you can run these studs. And if you go from having a 500 horsepower build to 1,000 horsepower, you're not second guessing yourself. So that being said, we're actually going to do just how we did on our common rails on the race truck. We're actually going to pull one stud at a time, replace it, and so on and so forth. Torque everything to the factory spec and then go up to the ARP spec. I did look online. Apparently guys say that you can do it with these, and my take on that is also the same as like when we did it with our race truck. Is it the right way to do it? No. Does it work? Yes, typically. So really the only thing you're losing by doing the one stud at a time approach is that, hey, if you actually do have a leak down the road, you torque the set of studs one more time than you would have had to. Because if we pulled the head, then we got to get it trued up and all that, replace the gasket, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that we might not have to do. So like I said, just kind of found some old forum posts, and guys were saying, yeah, you can do that with the 24 valves, with the with the VP44 truck. So if that is accurate, good. If not, I guess we'll find out later, and we might be pulling ahead. But also while we're in there, of course my phone's ringing, we can do some other stuff. All right, so spam call. Anyhow, one thing too, while we are in there, we can take a look at the valve train. We can make sure our valve lash is set correctly and all that. And also while we're in the top of the engine, we probably will do a couple other upgrades, but while we're there. So, this truck, for all we know, has never had the valve lash done. It could be way out, who knows. The factory spec on these is 10 and 20. So anyway, let's get to diving in this timing cover and get to our head stud job and just kind of see where the day progresses. All right, we're down to our last head stud, so I figured I'd show you guys kind of my process, how I do this. Get rid of the old head bolt. That is now trash. Grab our stud. Now, the studs, here for the last few, I already reassemble them. I put plenty of this ARP assembly lube on the underside of the nut, on both sides of the washer, on the threads of the bolt, and just kind of pre-assembled it to make it a little easier. But basically, some of the ones in the rear, you had to take the nut off just to kind of speed things up. But then I just take my little ratchet here and I run that stud all the way down. I'll tighten my my nut up, and then I'll take my Allen wrench and just go back 180 degrees, kind of lock that nut in there. And then we grab our torque wrench and torque her down. This first step is to 100 foot-pounds, so we're kind of matching the factory torque to yield bolts. So now all 26 of them are done. So that being said, we've done all 26 head bolts, converted them over to head studs. So now we go to our final like 3 rounds of torques. How I do this, I go to Glacier Diesel Power and I pull this up on my device, just because I got a good picture of the torque. The way you torque it, basically you start in here between cylinders 3 and 4, and just 1, 2, 3, 4. You keep working around and keep going outward in that pattern. And these 6 head studs over here are actually a hair longer. So first thing I do when I get head studs is I separate them and just have the 6 sitting over by themselves so I don't mix them up. Also, while I'm going through doing this, I am being mindful to look at them all and make sure that all the studs have about the same amount of thread protrusion. That way I know I didn't screw something up. Everything looks the same. Also, I don't know if it's the body of this truck sagging. We did have to kind of clearance back here for one of the longer head studs. I thought about putting a short one in there, and I actually did. And then you come up short and you don't get a full nut if you use a short one on this side. So you should notice it, but just be mindful of that. But like I said, I use this GDP torque thing, so that way I can just go around and kind of keep my place. And if whatever I have a brain fart, I can just look up real quick and go, oh, all right, I was on 5, now we need to go to 6. So how they tell you to do it is torque everything up to 100 foot-pounds, like I said, and then for 625s, use 15 foot-pound increments till we get to 150. So, and then they go on to say, in practice, many installers will run them up to 160 foot-pounds, which, why not? A little extra torque. That's obviously not ARP's recommendation, but a lot of people still do it. So, yeah, and this is, so if we're at 100, we're going to go to 160. We're going to do 4 passes of 115, 130, 145, and 160. So yeah, this is where you get tuckered out. Alright, so we got our head studs fully installed. Everything's good there. Also, got the front cover off. Looking at the crank, I think we're going to need one of the wear sleeve front main seals, because there is a good groove right in the front of that, if you guys can see it. Also, I did, before I pulled the rockers off, I put the engine at top dead center for number 1, so both those rockers were loose. We're good there. We also pulled off the grid heater. I pulled this whole assembly off because, well, I don't think that we need it. Now, comment down below if you know about these trucks. Is that going to set off a check engine light? And if so, is there a way to kind of take care of that? Do I need to, put the solenoids or whatever back on there? So comment down below, let me know. I mean, I really don't want to run the grid heater in this thing. But we do have some more work to do underneath of the valve cover here, so that's not going back. It'll go back on just for tonight. Same thing with the front cover. Also, I need to order, find out, you guys comment down below as well, is it better to use RTV on this front cover, or is it better to use a gasket? It had like a white RTV on it to begin with, so between that and the fact that there is a mark, like a marker mark here, I'm thinking that somebody's been in this cover before, but honestly, I don't know. I mean, it looks like, I don't think it's factory. I mean, factory, they got the timing mark, so I don't know. Also, I've had a lot of comments, people asking about it being a 53 block. It is not, or at least I haven't been able to find a 53. On the driver's side underneath here, when you crawl up under it, and also apparently it can say it down here between the front of the engine and the turbo drain. There's no 53 anywhere, so I'm pretty sure that this is a good block, not one of the ones with that are susceptible to the cooling problem. So anyway, guys, like I said, comment down below on those couple things what you guys think. I don't know about these. I'm learning. And I'm sure if we weren't supposed to do that with the head, head studs, that I'm going to hear a raft of crap about it. But hey, it's worth a shot. If you got to end up pulling the head, well, you're going to do it anyway. So we just waste the night of torquing down the head. So got everything laid out on the table. Another thing I need you guys to comment down below. These little CCV filters, like this thing looks like it's got like a Brillo pad in there. Is that normal? Is it worth getting a new one, or does it not matter? Yeah, I don't know. Those bolts need to go in the trash, and all our rockers are laid out here. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. I'm going to throw this valve cover on and the timing cover with a couple bolts, and yeah, my arm is, yeah, it's pretty dead. Now I'm holding the camera to boot. But yeah, we got everything torqued down, ready to go, but we certainly have some more work under there, and I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.